You think you understand desire. You think you know what turns her on, what she wants, what she's feeling. But most of what you believe is a lie, or at least incomplete. Women don't always tell the truth about sex, not because they're dishonest, but because biology, society, and instinct are pulling in directions even they don't fully understand. Today, I'm going to pull back the curtain on the hidden rules of sexual attraction, pleasure, and fidelity. Once you see what's really happening behind closed doors, your entire perspective on intimacy will shift, and you'll start seeing the world through a lens few men ever get to experience. You think you know what women want in bed. You think a smile, a compliment, or a complimented body is the key. But here's the thing. Women don't always show what they feel. Not because they're deceptive, not because they're playing games, but because their biology, their hormones, and their instincts are layered beneath social conditioning. Picture this. She's at a coffee shop, laughing at a joke. Her body shifts slightly when someone catches her eye. A subtle brush of her fingers along the mug, a tilt in posture, a micro-glance that flickers just long enough to reveal interest. To you it looks casual, friendly, innocent. But beneath the surface, her biology is active, responsive. Every hormonal cycle, every peak of estrogen or progesterone changes what she notices, who she notices, and how her body reacts. In a kitchen, stirring coffee, she leans against the counter, crossing her legs in a way she doesn't even notice. That tiny shift. A signal of concealed attention. At work, she adjusts her posture, flips her hair, subtly mirrors body language. She's not flirting consciously. Her body is reacting. She's testing attraction, gauging interest, all while maintaining the composure society demands. Women learn early to hide their impulses. Social expectation says desire is dangerous, messy, unladylike. So she conceals it. She masks it with politeness, smiles, small talk. But micro-behaviors betray the truth. The flicker of an eye, the tightening of a grip, the casual touch that lingers just slightly longer. These are the unspoken signals of attraction, the private desires that never get voiced aloud. Her desire is cyclical, invisible, and often misunderstood. And the closer you pay attention, the more you realize there's an entire world of sexual responsiveness hidden in everyday moments, unseen but not absent. Here's a truth you weren't taught in sex ed or society's love stories. Women are biologically wired to crave variety. Yes, even women in committed relationships. Their bodies respond to novelty even when their minds insist on loyalty. Imagine her at a work event. She's chatting with a colleague, laughing a little louder than usual. Her eyes linger just a little longer. The shift is subtle. Posture, dress, attention. She's not consciously looking for a new partner. She's not planning an affair. But her body, it's alive to novelty. Her hormonal cycles, her ovulation phase, increase sensitivity, heighten attraction, tune her to signals of genetic variety. Women endure a constant internal tension. Loyalty in mind, curiosity in body. Every glance, every flirtation, every small adjustment is a dance between conscious fidelity and biological instinct. She may notice a stranger across the room and feel a pulse of desire she can't explain. She may return home, commit to her partner, and suppress the very sensations that make her body respond. Her attraction shifts with the phases of her cycle. What excites her at one moment might leave her indifferent a week later. Stability, security, novelty. They all pull at her simultaneously, silently, invisibly. She navigates these impulses with grace, secrecy, and subtlety. Society doesn't allow her the truth, so she hides it, fakes it, smiles, and performs the expected loyalty while her body quietly whispers a different story. You think going down on her is a gift, a surefire ticket to pleasure. Here's the brutal reality. Sometimes it's painful, risky, something she endures silently. Her urethra is short. Bacteria travel straight from mouth to bladder. She knows it. That enthusiastic session you think she's loving? She may be calculating the risk of a UTI or yeast infection. Every micro-movement, every subtle pause, every shift in her expression is a negotiation between enduring discomfort and protecting your ego. She could stop you. She could say it hurts. But she doesn't. Because your feelings, your confidence, your sense of competence are fragile. So she masks the discomfort with micro-smiles, tiny vocalizations, and calculated breathing. She endures, planning later remedies, cranberry juice, probiotics, or a visit to the pharmacy, while you remain blissfully unaware. This isn't malice. It's survival. It's social conditioning. It's the private labor women perform to maintain intimacy, to protect relationships, to navigate sexual encounters without conflict. Every time she smiles through discomfort, she's revealing a paradox. Female sexual pleasure often comes at a hidden cost, one you may never know exists unless you pay attention. You think penetration is the key, that the positions you see in porn, the technique you've learned, will guarantee her orgasm. Here's the truth. Almost all female orgasms originate in the clitoris, not the vagina. Think about that. About 82% of women rarely orgasm from penetration alone. The rest? They perform, faking micro-expressions, timing moans, flexing muscles just enough to make you think you've succeeded. And why? Ego protection, social expectation, avoidance of awkwardness. Her clitoris isn't just a button, it's an iceberg, visible tip, massive internal structure. Vaginal stimulation may reach some of it for a lucky few, but the majority, she fakes, she performs, she endures, and later, alone, she gets real pleasure, the kind you can't manufacture in your bedroom. The subtle tells are everywhere. Micro shifts in posture, timing of vocalizations, slight changes in breathing. She's navigating desire and deception simultaneously, crafting the illusion of satisfaction while protecting your fragile ego. Porn taught you fantasies, her body teaches biology. And if you don't understand the iceberg beneath the tip, you're missing the real map to female pleasure. You think watching porn makes men better in bed, makes them more confident, more experienced, more exciting. But here's the brutal truth. It doesn't. Not even close. Porn doesn't teach technique. Porn doesn't increase stamina. It rewires your brain, and the consequences land squarely on women, whether they ever say a word or not. Picture this. A couple in the bedroom. He's eager, but mid-act. Something falters. Not always, but enough to make her notice. And notice she does. She counts seconds in her head, subtly shifts her hips, arches, tilts, adjusts her posture just enough to maintain the illusion. Her breathing, her micro-expressions, even the way she moans, all calibrated to protect his ego. Meanwhile, internally, she's tracking every falter, every misalignment between expectation and reality. Here's what's happening. Porn creates supernormal stimuli. Men's brains become addicted to extremes, novelty, speed, multiple actors, impossible positions, and suddenly a real woman, warm and present, isn't enough. She's natural, she's familiar. Her body doesn't explode with every move like the porn stars' bodies do. She senses it. Her subtle disengagement, the delay in eye contact, the unconscious pause, betrays that something in her environment isn't hitting the neurological jackpot. So she adapts. She fakes it. She moans just the right way, arches at just the right angle, times everything perfectly. She counts the seconds until it's over. Not out of malice, not out of lack of desire, but to maintain intimacy, to avoid embarrassment, to keep things feeling normal. And you, the man, have no idea that your brain's rewiring is the reason behind her perfect responses. The consequences don't stop there. Over time, real sex becomes boring. Your arousal depends on novelty you'll never find in your bedroom. Positions that looked amazing on screen feel awkward. The moves that require the flexibility of a gymnast are impossible for her to enjoy. The dirty talk you copied verbatim from a video. She's cringing inside while moaning outside because she knows your fragile ego can't handle the truth. And the darker side. You start comparing her to porn stars, consciously or not. Her body isn't surgically enhanced. Her reactions aren't theatrical performances. She senses your disappointment and thinks it's her fault. Meanwhile, you don't realize that your habits have trained your brain to respond to extremes, and real intimacy feels inadequate. Some men even develop porn-induced erectile dysfunction. Their hands, trained to the death grip and speed of porn, can no longer sync with a real woman. She tries to adapt. Lingerie, role-play, teasing, extra effort. But nothing fixes the core problem. You're desensitized. She's enduring. And nobody admits it. And let's be honest, she's aware. Every pause, every counted second, every subtle adjustment is a silent negotiation she makes to preserve the illusion that everything is fine. Her micro-behaviors, invisible to you, are her coping mechanism. And yet, she smiles, nods, moans at the right times, all to protect your ego. Porn doesn't just affect men. It affects women's satisfaction, intimacy, and trust. It forces them into a performance they never signed up for. She adapts, endures, and protects the relationship while you think you're giving pleasure. You're not. You're performing for yourself, and her survival instincts kick in. This isn't shame. It's biology, conditioned by visual overstimulation. It's the silent truth behind the bedroom smiles, the orchestrated orgasms, and the subtle disconnect between desire and reality. Women feel it. They endure it. They adjust without complaint. And you? You have no idea. Think you understand desire in long-term relationships? Think again. Biology doesn't care about anniversaries, loyalty, or love letters. It reacts to novelty. And novelty is a shock your reproductive system can't resist. Here's the unspoken truth. A man's sperm count, motility, and sexual performance spike dramatically with a new sexual partner. And women? Their bodies respond just as intensely. Lubrication increases, ovulatory signals peak, and subtle hormonal shifts make them biologically more receptive. Even a short separation, a new colleague, or a stranger's smile can trigger these responses. Picture this. She goes on a work trip. Nothing happens. She doesn't cheat. She doesn't flirt. But her body is already responding to the idea of novelty. Her ovulatory cycle intensifies, cervical mucus increases, and subtle arousal rises. Her body is preparing for genetic variety, even while her conscious mind stays loyal. Now, imagine him. A new partner, even a casual encounter, floods his system with testosterone. His desire spikes, sperm quality skyrockets, and everything about him screams sexual alertness. It's biology screaming for novelty, irresistible, unavoidable, and unconscious. Long-term relationships naturally dull these responses. Familiarity suppresses the thrill. Hormones plateau. Desire becomes routine. That excitement you once felt? Biology pushes it to the back burner. But the moment novelty appears, the system awakens. Micro-flirtations, glances, subtle changes in posture. All small, unconscious signals reveal increased receptivity to new mates. And she doesn't even notice she's sending them. A tilt of the head, a touch on her hair, the way she crosses her legs. It's all biological advertising. Her body is saying, "Notice me," while her mind thinks, "I'm faithful." These signals are invisible to most men, yet they're as real as the hormonal surges driving them. E-lesson. Attraction isn't just emotional, it's biological. Sexual desire isn't constant, it's cyclical, primal, and sensitive to novelty. Long-term love masks these forces, but they never disappear. Understanding the new partner fertility effect isn't about distrusting your partner. It's about seeing the hidden mechanisms shaping desire, arousal, and reproductive readiness every single day. Next, we'll dive into the subtle signals women unconsciously display toward new or potential mates, micro-behaviors that reveal biological intent without a word being spoken. Think you know why she dresses a certain way, laughs at his jokes, or seems to pay more attention to someone else? Here's a secret. Her attraction isn't fixed. It oscillates, cycled by biology, invisible to most men, and completely outside conscious control. During her fertile phase, her body is tuned to detect dominance, genetic strength, and physical fitness. The man who embodies power, confidence, and raw vitality suddenly becomes magnetic, even if she's been dating the nice, stable boyfriend for years. Her pupils dilate, posture subtly shifts, and her voice changes, micro-behaviors signaling her body's biological priorities without her mind realizing it. Outside her fertile window, her preferences swing. Stability, reliability, kindness, traits that make a man dependable and safe, become far more attractive. The same gestures that once drew her in during ovulation now feel less magnetic, and her wardrobe, posture, and flirtation adjust unconsciously. A tighter dress, a lean toward someone new, a glance that lingers a little too long, these are tiny, unconscious signals that reveal her reproductive priorities. Picture this. She's at a coffee shop, chatting with her usual partner. He's reliable, loving, perfect on paper. But the man at the counter? Taller, broader, more assertive. Her body notices. Her eyes flick subtly. Her legs shift. Her hair brushes across her face in a way she doesn't even realize. She doesn't act on it. Her conscious mind knows she's loyal, but her biology is screaming a message she can't fully control. The fascinating and unnerving part is that she doesn't consciously know why she behaves this way. The wardrobe choices, the micro-flirtations, the subtle tilts of her head, these are instinctive, wired into her reproductive system. Your perception of her loyalty and desire is filtered through what she's consciously willing to show, not what her body is actually signaling. This cyclical attraction is nature's design. Fertility drives her attention toward partners who maximize genetic quality, while non-fertile phases prioritize security and long-term stability. It's a silent, invisible rhythm that shapes relationships, desire, and sexual tension, one that most men completely miss. Next, we'll uncover the invisible physical labor women perform to maintain male pleasure, the silent endurance behind smiles, moans, and performances. Another layer of reality most people will never see. Think you understand what she's feeling in bed? Think again. A lot of what you perceive as pleasure is performance, a careful choreography she puts on to protect your ego and keep the relationship smooth. The truth is, she often endures discomfort you'll never notice, all while smiling, moaning, and making it look effortless. Prolonged oral sessions, positions that cramp her muscles, vibrations that overstimulate or make her nervous. She feels it all. Every subtle shift in her posture, every tiny adjustment in her breathing, every micro-expression you barely register. It's a signal of endurance. She's managing tension, pain, and physical limits in real time, silently calculating how much she can give without disrupting your fantasy. Here's the kicker. She rarely communicates this. Telling you would mean confronting your ego, risking tension, or shattering the illusion that sex is naturally effortless for her. So she tolerates it silently. She fakes moans, adjusts her movements to match what she thinks you expect, and sometimes even smiles through discomfort, because stopping or complaining feels worse than the act itself. Imagine a scene. She's giving oral sex. Your pleasure is visible, your enjoyment palpable. Meanwhile, she's subtly shifting her weight, pressing her tongue in angles that are less natural, holding muscles in tension, carefully pacing to manage strain. Her eyes may flick toward the clock or the edge of the bed, Her mind calculates, adjusts, endures. And when it's over, she hides the discomfort, maybe shifts in bed, and kisses you as if nothing happened. You see intimacy. She just performed survival. It's not malicious. It's not a secret grudge. It's biological, psychological, and social. From a young age, women are trained to prioritize male satisfaction. Cultural scripts, evolutionary pressures, and relational dynamics teach them to endure rather than die. Disrupt. Every faked moan, every prolonged act of giving, every subtle adjustment is a micro-sacrifice, a hidden cost paid for relational harmony. Next, we'll uncover the communication networks women use to share these sexual realities, the whispered, digital, and intimate channels where the truth of female sexual experience is discussed openly, but only among those who understand the game. Think she's dealing with sexual discomfort, confusion, or dissatisfaction alone? Think again. Behind the scenes, there's an entire network, quiet, discreet, unspoken, that helps women navigate the hidden realities of sex, and it's a network you'll never see. Imagine her texting a group chat with friends. The conversation is coded, precise, loaded with shared understanding. Ugh, marathon session last night. Cranberry juice time. Try this probiotic, it saved me. He doesn't know, but I'll survive. Every emoji, every shorthand is a signal. This is about survival, pleasure, and avoiding complications. They exchange tips for preventing infections, dealing with irritation, navigating uncomfortable positions, and even faking responses convincingly, all without ever involving the male partner. Or picture whispered conversations at brunch, over coffee at work. A subtle glance, a knowing smile, a hushed comment. You know what I mean, right? She shares experiences, compares solutions, warns of risks, all while maintaining the public appearance of normality. These aren't just casual chats. They're a collective strategy for sexual well-being, a covert education system designed to protect themselves and their partner's egos simultaneously. It's fascinating and a little unnerving. An entire parallel system exists where knowledge flows freely, unbound by the expectations of men. Remedies, techniques, warnings, and confirmations of what works and what doesn't circulate in these private networks. Women consult it like a secret manual for navigating pleasure, safety, and desire, all without breaking social scripts. And this is why the average male partner remains in the dark. She doesn't lie to be deceitful. She simply operates in a world where openness comes with social, emotional, and sometimes physical costs. Sharing the truth about what hurts, what pleases, or what you truly desire. This could disrupt harmony, bruise egos, or create conflict. So the network exists, quietly, safely, invisibly. This covert exchange of knowledge isn't just practical, it's biological strategy, social survival, and psychological mastery all rolled into one. And while it remains hidden from men, it ensures women can endure, adapt, and optimize sexual experiences safely and intelligently. Next, we tie everything together. The cycles of desire, the sacrifices, the hidden knowledge, and the biological drives, to reveal the real challenges of long-term relationships and why both partners often struggle to maintain satisfaction over time. You think love conquers all, that years together, shared memories and commitment make sexual desire automatic. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Your biology isn't on autopilot. Long-term monogamy is a battlefield, and both male and female reproductive systems are wired to seek novelty. Picture a couple after years together. The initial sparks of desire have dulled, subtle signs of boredom creeping into touch, posture, and attention. She leans back slightly during intimacy, distracted. He struggles to maintain arousal without the artificial novelty of pornography or fantasy. Neither of them fully realizes why. It's not about love or lack thereof. It's biology. For men, sperm count and sexual responsiveness decline in long-term pairings unless novelty is introduced. The brain craves supernormal stimuli. The body adapts to sameness by down-regulating arousal. For women, ovulatory responses, lubrication, and sexual desire diminish with the same partner over time. Even when she loves him deeply, her body subtly signals readiness for genetic variety. Her micro-behaviors, prolonged glances at other men, adjustments in posture, flirting with friends or colleagues, are invisible signals of instinctual attraction, pulling her attention toward novelty, while her conscious mind remains loyal. She compensates silently, adjusting clothing subtly to appear more alluring, maintaining physical readiness during sex she might not fully enjoy, performing the expected responses that keep harmony intact. Every sigh, every movement, every carefully timed gesture is a negotiation between instinct and loyalty. She endures discomfort. She performs. She hides her biological impulses because the cost of honesty is too high. And this is why functional long-term relationships require workarounds, vacations, novelty in shared experiences, discrete fantasies, and sometimes even covert social or emotional connections that provide just enough stimulation to satisfy biology without breaking loyalty. The 7-year itch, the spike in attraction to co-workers or new acquaintances, even the silent fascination with strangers. These are not signs of moral failure. They are the system working as it was designed. Understanding this is liberating. It removes blame, judgment, and confusion from long-term sexual dynamics. Your partner's waning responsiveness isn't a betrayal. Your own declining desire isn't a flaw. Both of you are navigating a system that evolution never designed for permanence. The challenge isn't failure, it's adaptation. Novelty must be managed, cycles must be respected, and private strategies, like fantasy, discrete networks of knowledge, or shared adventures, become essential tools for maintaining intimacy over time. Monogamy is possible, but only with awareness. Both partners must respect the biological constraints silently shaping desire, attraction, and fertility. The game isn't broken. It's just evolutionary, hidden beneath the surface, influencing every sigh, glance, and touch. The secret of lasting relationships isn't perfect love. It's mastery of biology. Now that you've seen how desire, biology, and attraction really work, the question isn't whether you can change her behavior. It's whether you can understand it. The more you know, the less frustrated, confused, or blindsided you'll ever feel. If you want to navigate relationships with clarity, to recognize the hidden signals your partner gives, and to finally stop guessing about what she's really feeling, then pay attention to these patterns. Share this video with someone who still thinks they know how women work, and don't forget to subscribe. The truth about desire is uncomfortable. It's provocative. And it's only going to get more fascinating from here.